Hello, I'm PJ Bishop. Welcome to my channel. And we're sitting pretty here at 14-10, 5 games back from the New York Mets, who are just phenomenal this year. Currently at 19-5, and we're in a series against them and not doing well. We lost the first two. There's still two more to go. But we are good enough currently to be in the wild card, although it's extremely early. But we are sitting here, half a game up. Have a wild card spot, which is nice. I think we're overachieving. I didn't think we were that good as far as playoff record is concerned. But it's not like we're great. We're actually pretty anemic offensively, bottom third in pretty much every category. Pitching is, the ERA is what's kind of helping us out. We're tied for fifth in the ERA, in total ERA, or runs against. I guess it's not really the ERA. Some runs are earned, some runs aren't earned. But we're holding our own enough to. I feel like we do just enough in every time we win. We do just enough to win. There have been some ugly blowouts, but we win. Some games it just everyone seems to do just enough. It's pretty weird sometimes. So let's take a look at our lineup. I did reshuffle it a little bit, and that's also because we do have some injuries. It was a new injury. John Birdie was a new injury. He's only out for 5 more days, so he'll be back soon. And Jose Ramos out for 3 weeks now, but he wasn't really doing well. As you can see, he is struggling. He started off okay. I think he hit a home run early on in the year. But after that, he's been struggling. He'll have a hit here and there. So he's definitely adjusting. But he's the kind of guy I don't mind because I'm stashing him. He's a stash player. Birdie, he was doing okay. He had his moments. I don't think he's got a big enough sample size yet to. 5 games is not enough to really say too much, but he was doing okay. He will be missed. I do like this. But overall, the team hasn't really slowed down just because we got injuries here and there. Let's take a look at some of the. So leading off is still third baseman Jordan Groshans, and he's been, not playing great. 625 OPS, 317 on base percentage. But we're keeping him in because like I said, they seem to always do just enough at the right time to keep us in the game, or they just seem to have timely hitting, is what it is. Timely hitting. Number 2 is our left fielder, Whit Merrifield. He's currently struggling, but 463 OPS, an average of less than 200 is not good. It's really bad. Expected him to be much better, and he's not. Is he in danger of being benched? Maybe. I don't know. He might not be hitting as high in the order if he continues to hit like this, but I'll give him a chance to play out of his slump. So it's not like we have that many options anyway, so it's not like I can't do much. Hitting at our number 3 spot is Jazz Chisholm, and he is playing really well. 897 OPS. He's already got 24 stolen bases in 23. He's on pace for 162 stolen bases, which would be, I think it's a record. I'm not sure what the record is. It'll be up there as one of the most highest stolen bases in a single season. But he's definitely on pace for his All-Star year, like the same year he had in 2022. And he's on pace for 40 home runs. I don't know if there's ever. He'll be the first one in the 40-160 club. I don't think that's a club that's been made yet. So that's impressive to have that much power and the ability to steal bases. So he's looking good for us, playing really well. Should be an all-star this year if he keeps his play up. Also in conversation for Silver Slugger and even possibly MVP. At number 4 is first baseman Nico Cavadas, and he's playing solid. For a rookie, straight up rookie, he's playing solid. I think Boston maybe made a mistake on this one. He's got 4 homers, on pace for 27, which is good for a rookie. They don't always tend to blast off 40, 30 homers in their first year. It takes them a little while to get accustomed to the league. It's usually the second season that you see them really hit their stride. I don't know if the game reflects that because the game is not real life. But hopefully it does reflect that. But he's holding his own solid OPS of 734. Has knocked in 4 home runs. Not doing a bad job as a cleanup hitter. I think he's leading the team in RBIs, right? He has 17 RBIs, so he's doing his job as a cleanup hitter with 17 RBIs. At number 5 is our catcher, Mike Zeno. Now, this is what I expected out of him. Poor ability to hit. But he's got 3 home runs, so he's on pace for 20, which is kind of what I was hoping for, at least 20 or more. So I'm not too upset because his defensive ability is elite. And his hitting is doing just enough to where I can't really complain too much. At number 6 is Jordan Westburg, right fielder. He got moved into the starting lineup. We'll see what he can do. In a small sample size that we had so far, he's hitting well, 775 OPS. But again, that was only in 3 games total. We'll see what happens once he's a full-time starter. If he can continue that kind of pace, because that's a good rate. I can live with that from somebody that's in the bottom half of my lineup. Number 7 is Gene Segura, shortstop. He is not hitting well at all, really. He's 584 OPS is not hitting well. He started off hot. I think the first 2 games or first 3 games, 2 homers. That's been his only home runs, but hopefully he can turn it around a little bit and put some better numbers up. But I do like him defensively. It's not like we have a plethora of shortstops available. Number 8 is our DH, Jorge Soler. I'm not overly excited with his play, considering that he's not even hitting that many home runs. He's got 1 home run. He's on pace for a measly 7, which is essentially nothing. Really isn't doing much, so I'm not sure how much longer I can keep him in the lineup hitting so poorly. It's not going to be, because I do want to compete. If we're competing and we're doing well, I want the best possible lineup. And if he's not able to do that, then I'll have to find somebody that can do his job. And number 9, recent call-up, second baseman, Ceddanne Rafaela. And he's holding his own. Started off a little hotter than, he's slowing down. Actually, every game he's getting worse and worse on the OPS. But I think he'll, if he can settle in at 715 or even the low 800s, wherever he settles in, that's acceptable. He's extremely versatile, so I'm able to play him anywhere and feel comfortable. And he's actually good. Like, if you look at it, he's already established himself pretty highly at every position, with still plenty of room to grow wherever I put him. With second base being a really good position for him. That's where he is right now. But he's looking solid for another rookie traded from Boston. Boston giving me a couple of rookies, but he's looking good, and I do like him. He's batting in the number 9 spot, which is a pretty big spot, really, because he's in charge of protecting that number one guy by being good enough. So by being dangerous enough here at number 9, you really can't. By the time you get to rolling over the order, you're not really relaxing too much because he's coming in as a pretty dangerous hitter himself. I like to put a solid overall hitter at number 9, and that's what I think he is, a solid overall hitter. So yeah, that's the lineup. Not looking bad. Well, bottom third is pretty bad, not gonna lie. But somehow they're just doing enough. Now, some guys in danger of being replaced. Merrifield's in danger of being replaced. I don't know about Zeno, because this is what I'm looking for, and he's doing it. He's hitting just enough at the right pace that I'm fine with. Solar is in danger of being replaced. There's some guys that are borderline holding on to their starting spots. Pitching has been pretty good. Let's look at Sandy Alcantara. He's currently sporting a 3.98 ERA. He's 2-2 in his 5 starts. That's kind of high. You can see how he is on pace from last year. His ERA will be lower than last year if he can do that. So it looks like he can get better. His walks are a little higher than usual. So he can still improve. I think he can improve. We got some, but he's not doing bad. Number 2 is Tyler Mahle. He's doing really well. Pitching pretty good for us. Not going as deep. He's only got 2 quality starts. The last 2 have been kind of short. He's got a 5 and a 4.2 innings. But he's playing really well. 2.33 ERA is going to be one of his best in years. If it can finish like this. Again, it's 5 games only. You can't really. But he's playing well. 1-2-2 whip. That's kind of where we like it. Not giving up home runs. Look at that. 0.3. So like not giving up. So even if he's walking a little more than usual, if you're not giving up home runs, I could live with that because you're not giving up the big untimely hits in that situation. See, Jose Barrios, he's not doing bad, is he? 4.90. He was the last game he was actually doing really well until the last game where he gave up 9 runs against New York. I let my pitchers. I have a long leash. At one point, once you give up 3, 4, 5 runs, I leave you in anyway. It's like I don't want to burn my bullpen arms just because you can't handle the first 2 innings. At that point, suck it up, Buttercup, and finish the game, or at least give us a 4 or 5 innings, so I don't have to go through my entire bullpen to just finish a game when I know we have no chance really of winning. Because offensively, I know we're not the kind of offense where I expect us to score 6 to 9 runs in 1 inning. We're back-to-back innings of 4 or 5 runs. I know that we may have our inning of 4 or 5 runs, and that's it. And we can't get on a little roll like that. But aside from this one start, he's actually done pretty darn well. So it's because the whip isn't bad. 1-2-4. Home run rate's pretty high. Not going to expect him to strike out too many. And he's walking. I wish he could repeat what he did last year with the walks, but I don't know. He's not doing bad. He's not doing as bad. That one game kind of makes him look worse than he really is. Benton Brown came back from injury and did start, but doesn't look like he did fantastic. 5 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs against. That was a home run. Walked 5, which is a lot. Can't be walking that many people. Struck out. Was it 7? So he did well in the strikeout category. It's just the walking category was not that great. It kind of offsets when you walk too many people and then give up a home run. So I'm pretty sure he gave up 1 home run. That home run I think that home run was all the 3 runs too. So that's what hurts. You end up walking people, putting people on base, and then giving up a home run is an instant way to work your way out of my favor and eventually back down to AAA because you're young enough to continue developing at AAA even though you're fully developed, which is what scares me, is you're fully developed. But could be in the bullpen if you keep that up. And then our number 5 starter, surprisingly doing our best. Now, his ERA is unsustainable, which is scary because that means he's due for games where he gets blown up. Because that's what happens when you have something that's like if you're batting over 400. If you see a guy batting 450 with an OPS of like 1300, be prepared for a long stretch of cold games where he's 0 for 4, 0 for 3, 0 for 4, 0 for 4, 1 for 4, 0 for 4, because that average is going to eventually have to even out. People aren't finishing with over 400 average and things of that nature, so you're going to have to prepare for that. And same thing with the ERA. People aren't finishing with less than 1 ERA, so that means he's due for getting blown up in a few games, which scares me because eventually that's got to come back to something normal, considering that his ERA has been 3 and 5.85 last year in 117 innings. So that's a huge difference. That's an unsustainable difference. I don't see that actually happening. But he's doing well. The whip rate is fantastic. Home run rate is on par from last year. He's walking a lot less and actually striking out a lot less. Balls in that. Well, I don't know. I mean, the ERA is definitely going to go up. But he's not playing. I think he's just having good defense behind him because he's striking out at 3 less per 9. That's a pretty big difference. That's a huge jump. But he's also walking 2 less per 9, which is a pretty big jump as well. And his whip is still only 1.06, which is really good, which is why his ERA is low. But strikeout rate being low is alarming. And even the walk rate being significantly lower is a little alarming because his control rate is low. He doesn't have good command. He has good strikeout stuff, so it's kind of weird that those things are reversed. Like if this stayed at 5, I would not have been surprised. And if this rose to 10, 11, or 12, I would not have been surprised. But nonetheless, he's somehow, right now, statistically, our best starter by a pretty wide margin. But I'm happy. Oh, my closer has been solid as well. Garrett Cleaver over here. Doesn't blow too many games. Just doing the right thing to... Not the greatest whip. Really not the greatest anything. If you look at none of these are... Well, the home run rate being less than 1 is I like. Walk rate's fairly high, but I expect that with his control. But not striking out a ton of dudes. He's getting it with actual outs. People are having to play defense, which is unusual for a closer. Usually they come in and they strike out at least 1, 2 guys, sometimes the side if you got an elite guy. But he's not doing that. He's just 1 strikeout every appearance, sometimes no strikeouts. I mean, that was in 2.1 innings, only 1 strikeout. Well, as long as he keeps getting the saves, I can't complain. So, what's he on pace for? Does it say what he's on pace for? 41 saves? That's pretty good. That's a good number. It's also a good number for the team. That means that's 41 wins, at least. So, not a bad looking team. I like it so far. Really looking pretty good overall. Somehow we're just playing well enough overall to have a solid record, be in contention for a wild card. It's extremely early. That could change. You could end up losing 10 straight, and there goes your wild card. You can also go off and win 10 straight. I've done both. I've lost a ton of games in a row, and I've won a ton of games in a row. Sometimes the schedule doesn't play in your favor. We got the Mets right now, who are 19-5. We have Atlanta coming up, who's 5-19, but something tells me their team is not 5-19. worthy. So they're either on a cold streak, like the entire team. I don't know what their deal is, but Atlanta being 5-19 is a little scary. Let's see how my prospects are doing. Let's look at my prospects. Just calling some guys up. So we have 14 now. As I removed Sidon Rafaela, since he's no longer considered a prospect. Or at least in my eyes, he's not, since he's playing in a major league. First baseman, Jacob Berry. He got promoted because he was just going at an absolute torrid pace at the AA level. He had a 1200 OPS, 6 home runs in 16 games, 391 average. So he's definitely playing way better than AA. So I went ahead and called up to AAA. Now, if he could continue this at AAA, he will definitely get a look at the majors. Someone playing this well deserves a shot to continue playing that well at the highest level. International Complex, third baseman, Ide Cape at AA. He's playing well, 820 OPS, which is an improvement from last year by 100 points. I like that. I like seeing improvement, which means at the end of this year, he's probably going to be ready for AAA. I don't think I'll call him up from AA to AAA this year unless he goes off on an extremely hot streak. I see him finishing the year at AA and beginning next year at AAA, knocking at the door of the majors. Like, he's getting closer. His contact should improve much more. He'll get a little more pop by then, hopefully. And he'll be a serious contender probably for a spot on the roster next year. Let's see here. Shortstops, Dominican Summer League, and high A, Khalil Watson. Currently dealing with an injury. What's he got here? He's got a strained hamstring, and we don't know when he's going to come back. And he's holding his own. 818 high A. That's a solid OPS. It's nice to see that he jumped a level and is playing better than he did at the lower level. So that's good. That's a good thing to see because he's playing well. Again, not at a pace where he'll get promoted to AA, but if he continues this pace and keeps on developing, he'll be at the AA to start next year. Left field is international. High A, Jack Burley is definitely out. What is he out with? He's got a fractured thumb, out for 1 week. Probably got hit by a pitch. Now, he's only played, 2 games, so you can't really go by the OPS there, because he did start off hot. Over 1,000 OPS, and then over the course of the last 2 games, it went from 1,100 to 611, but that's what happens when you only play, when you only have 10 at-bats. Well, that's from last year. Didn't know that was from last year. This is this year's. So 823 to 611. So it's too small of a sample size to know how he's actually doing. Didn't do that great last year at low A, so we'll find out how he does this year. Kind of stinks that he's hurt, too. Summer League. Then I had to move Robert Perez to DH. Since I called up Jacob Berry to AAA, and he's a better first baseman, I ended up moving Robert Perez Jr. to DH because he's not really that good at anything else defensively. It's really hard to find him a spot, because he's just not that talented defensively. He's a future. He might replace Jorge Soler. That's what he's looking at with his home run power. If he can get that up just a little bit more, I'd feel pretty comfortable in putting him in Jorge Soler's spot. For almost $8.3 million less a year. So if I could trade Jorge Soler, get a prospect, even if it's an average to decent prospect, I'll be happy with that. But his current OPS is 703 at the AA level, so he's nothing like last year. or his AAA level. Sorry, nothing like last year. I was hoping to see more like this, or even like just like this. But this is meh. This is average. This is okay. This is you're just holding your own. You're just like anybody else. You're not standing out. But hopefully that can improve. It's going up steadily, so maybe he's heating up. Back to back home run games also help in that scenario. And he's on pace for 27, which is a solid number. You know, anytime you hit 20 home runs, that's a pretty good threshold to hit. And then every little rung up is more and more impressive. So 27 would not be a bad number for a minor league player. That's it for the top prospects. No one being called up. Well, I guess Cedar Rafael got called up. That was due to an injury, and he's not doing bad. So again, overall, pretty good looking team. Still extremely early. Things could instantly change, and we could look extremely bad in just 1 month. So that's it for this video. We'll see you at the beginning of June.